Do you feel like you're just surviving day to day, barely keeping your head above water and struggling just to keep it together? Maybe you always on high alert, waiting for the next bad thing to happen, or you feel like you can't really relax or enjoy the life because you're so used to bad things happening. You're always in a place of defense because you feel like you need to protect yourself. If any of this sounds familiar, it might be that trauma has trapped you in a state of just surviving instead of truly living. Today, we're diving into how trauma can keep us stuck in survival mode and what we can do to start to break free. I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest, Pauline Jones. She is a certified life and holistic coach with over 20 years of experience helping people heal from trauma. But what really makes her story so special is that she lived it. She survived abuse, trauma, and even the heartbreaking loss of her oldest son. She knows what it's like to feel like you're lost. All hope to be picking up the pieces of your life every day and want to quit, even when you know you can't. She's here to share her journey, the mistakes she made along the way, and how she learned to keep going, even when things get tough. Pauline's story is one of resilience and strength, and she's going to offer us some real practical advice on how to navigate life after trauma because she says the end of trauma isn't the end of the battle. Before we get started, I want to welcome any new listeners. Hi, I'm Rose, your host here, and I'm just one woman with one voice trying to create a space where we all can heal together. If you're on your own healing journey and looking for a community that understands what you're going through, you're in the right place. I would like to invite you to join our sisterhood. Just hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss another episode of a Sisters Love podcast. And don't forget to join our Facebook group, Sister Let's Heal Together, where we keep these conversations going, share our stories, and support each other along the way. All right, let's get into it and talk about how trauma traps us in survival mode and, more importantly, how we can start finding our way out. Welcome to A Sister's Love, the podcast that helps women who are healing by having those deep conversations, giving practical advice and words of encouragement. Come on, let's talk about it. Hello, my beautiful sisters. Welcome back to another episode of A Sister's Love. And today we have a beautiful guest, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is PJ. I am a life coach, certified life coach. I deal in trauma healing because of my past. I grew up with dealing with generational trauma, so I wanted to be in this community to help everybody understand that we need to seek the support and the guidance, and we need to move forward and not allow our trauma to enable us, not allow our trauma to disable us, not allow our trauma to define who we are in our present. We are stronger than we think. We are beautiful. We are loved, and we're able to heal from the things that happened to us that wasn't even our fault. So I also have a podcast that I host, Insights of a Survivor, that kind of touches on just that, healing after trauma, the steps that we need to take. I made mistakes during my healing journey, and I want to be able to help those in their healing journey understand that even though we make mistakes after we think the trauma ends, because the trauma doesn't end there, it ends with us. And once we learn that and once we grow with that, we can be a better version of ourselves. Thank you so much, Sister Rose, for having me on your show. I am so honored, and thank you.
Today, our topic, we're going to talk about survival mode. I want you to tell us a little bit about your story around that topic.
Okay, survival, that's been my life. As a newborn, I was poisoned. I was given something bad in my bottle. Even as a newborn, I had to fight. I had to survive. I have a scar on my neck from 2 days old. I was in the hospital until I was almost 1. I had to survive. Even then, my grandma had 13 children, so you can imagine how many cousins I had. I was the 7th great grandchild of my grandmother's. I was bullied a lot. I was always the outcast. I was always the one. I've had my ribs broke when I was 5, so I always had to fight. Yes, I've always had to fight to survive. Growing up, my mom was molested by my father. My father was the preacher of the church that I grew up in. That my mom had us in because my grandmother and my father had a relationship, and in that church, you get attacked. You don't know. I'm 10 years old. I don't understand why everyone's looking at me. So I had to learn how to survive. I had to learn how to sit there. And sometimes survival mode is just sitting there and shutting yourself up, silencing your voice, not asking, why do I look like the preacher? Because you get slapped in the mouth. And then once my dad died, my mom started drinking, and she started to become physically abusive to me. So I had to survive that. At first, I did everything she wanted. Let me survive this house. Let me just turn 18. Let me do everything right in school. Let me do everything right at home. Let me cook. Let me clean. Let me do everything she needed me to do. That wasn't working. So I went to the streets. I ran away. I had to survive on the streets. Survival mode on the streets looks a lot different than in your home. Keep your head down. Don't look at anybody. Fight, stab, do whatever you have to do. So that's kind of where I was. And again, it didn't always work out. To me, survival mode is just basically doing what you can to not get killed, doing what you can to not be beaten or raped or, pimped out. I've done a lot of things. I had to sometimes at 15, 14, sell drugs to survive so that I can eat, so that I didn't have to go home and face a mother who wanted to break my nose again or break my jaw again. And then that led me into a very toxic situation where I thought I was surviving. Because sometimes survival mode is not always, to me, survival mode is like a blinders, those things that they put on the horses. You're looking at one thing, you're not looking at everything else. So you're blinding yourself to everything else so you can get through that day. So sometimes you don't see the things that's coming to you because you're just trying to survive. That's when I met my ex-husband, who was 7 years older than me. I think I was 15 or 16. I'm trying to survive abuse from my mom, not realizing that I'm allowing a predator into my life because he's giving me a hotel room to live in. He's walking me to school, even though he has a full-time job. Survival mode is what you need to do to make it through the day, what you need to do. So sometimes it blinds you, but it helps you and it turns you into something that you weren't meant to be. It makes you put this wall up around you so that you can protect yourself from the evil that's in the world. So to me, that's what survival mode is. I survived decades of abuse in the home. And then when, like I said, my ex-husband, of course, if there's a 20-something-year-old man looking at a kid, he's not a good person. So me having to think I needed to survive, I stayed with this man and I had to survive him. I got pregnant, had to have my babies. I wasn't allowed to graduate high school because I wasn't allowed to leave the house to even go to school. I had to sneak to get my GED. That's survival. Thinking of ways to get out of this situation. And every time he finds me, because I'm a runner, I will run. My survival mode for survival instinct is to run. If you are trying to hurt me, I don't want to hurt you because we all have it in us. It's either you're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you. I'd rather not go that way. I'll run. And he found me every time. My survival method was to just get away. Just get away, get away, get away. Don't kill him. You have children. You have to live. You have to survive. So basically, I became complacent until I was able to get out. When I finally got out, I hid and I made mistakes. So that's what I look at as survival mode. It's just like I said, doing the best to keep you and yours safe at all means and by any means necessary. That's exactly what I did.
So when you was able to remove yourself from the situation, how did that survival mode still played out in your regular life, even though you wasn't in immediate danger, but your body and your mind told you that you still was?
Oh, that survival mode it didn't turn off for years. Everybody that came to me, who are you? Why are you? I kept my kids in a box. I did not let them leave the house. You want to go to the park? I'll take you to the park. I drove them to school. Mm-hmm. I drove them to the park. I drove them to school. I did everything. And I'm not talking just little kids. My oldest son was 15, 16 years old, and I'm driving him to high school. No, you don't need to catch the school bus. And I took a lot of experiences from them because I didn't. It takes your ability away to trust. Everybody's bad. Everybody's out to get you. Don't let anyone in your home. Don't let anyone near you. I was not in a relationship for years because I didn't trust that man wasn't going to be that. You're not going to touch my daughter because, again, my ex-husband, he was a pedophile. I wasn't the only young girl he victimized. And there were girls younger than me that he victimized. So in my head, you're a pedophile. I got him away from my daughter. No other man is going to be near her. So it doesn't turn off. Survival mode does not turn off. You have to learn how to balance it down a little bit. And that's one of the hardest things I have had to do. I still sometimes struggle with it, but not as bad, but again, like I said, it always will affect you. If you have overcome any type of trauma that especially when you have to survive, it doesn't go away. You're going to always look over your shoulder.
I totally agree because I guess the same thing. When it came to my daughter, her father was a pedophile too. And in my mind, I was younger and I was convinced that you don't keep your child away from their father. But so
Mm-hmm.
I used to let her see him, but I used to always be on guard and scared that she was going to be his next
Mm-hmm.
victim. And then
Right.
when I started my healing process, I started to separate myself from him and separate her from him, but I had this feeling of guilt. Like, am I helping her
Yes.
or am I harming her by keeping her away from her
Yes.
father? So I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know how to navigate that. But ultimately, I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm gonna keep her. I'm gonna keep her away. And
Yes.
to this day, I still feel guilty, but I know that I made the right choice. She's older now, and she can make that decision for herself based on the
Mm-hmm.
information that she gets. Then the other thing about it, I try to limit the information that I give her about the situation between me and her father so that she
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
any judgment from this man. But then at the same time, I don't want her to go in there blind and then put
Right.
herself in a predicament and then she's still in that, a victim of
Right.
this man, stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I agree. I agree. Like my daughter, he had to take me to court. I'm not gonna lie. He had to take me to court for visitations because I was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see I have two boys and then my daughter's our youngest. And even with the fact that she had two older boys, I mean, they were kids. He's a grown man. I don't expect them to be able to fight him, even if they jumped him.
Yeah.
So I did feel guilty because I, like you, I'm like, I'm not trying to be that type of person to keep their kids away from their father. I was lied to about who my father was for years, even though I did grow up with him. I was lied to. I don't want to lie to my kids. I don't want that. They're going to know who they are. But he ended up having to he ended up having to take me to court for visitations because I was like, no. But it was just certain things like he's asking, did she start a period yet? Oh, no, sir. No, sir. Those are things that my survivor mode kicked in. And I'm like, why do you need to know? That's a mother daughter thing. Whatever's happening with her body is between me and her. You just need to see her and love her and be a father, period. If you want to know if she started a period, did you want to buy her some pads? No. Do not ask me those kind of questions. So that kind of to the point where he had to take me to court for visitations and I made sure he had the minimum. He had 6 hours a week, every other weekend. He had 6 hours because I expressed those concerns to the judge. Some things, survival mode helps. It does hurt. It can hurt, but it can also help because, like you said, if you let your daughter go with this man too young, she could be his next victim. I want you to at least be old enough to tell me if he touches you. And it's not always a guarantee if they do, because sometimes the kids are like, I don't want my mom to go to jail.
Yeah.
So you think about all of that. So when it comes to my kids, that's where I say I still have that. My kids are grown now, but I have a granddaughter now, and it's still that she's never met her biological grandfather because I'm in a new marriage now, and he's a good man, and he is her grandfather. Their biological dad does want to know her, but no. If I have anything to do with it, he will never. But that's survival mode because I don't want her to be his next victim. I really would hope that he got help, but I'm not going to risk it
Yeah.
because that's my instincts. That's that survivor kicking in. I have to survive for them too. I have to make sure that they're safe too. So I did tell my son, like, no, I don't want her around him. This is her grandfather. He's safe. He's safe. You keep her away.
No, I totally agree. Because when he like when that we would ask about my daughter period, I'm like, we trying to figure out if you can get her pregnant or not. That
Right.
would have been the first thing. I can still play on her, and the evidence won't show up. And that would have
Right.
been the thing that would have triggered my brain too. I was like, no. But again, as a parent, then we have to balance. Like he does
Yes.
have a right to know that. That is our
Yeah.
father. A healthy father would want to know that information too. You know what I'm saying? For us being
Mm-hmm.
victims, we automatically go left. It can be a
Right.
genuine question that we go left. Like any man that
Yes.
compliments my daughter, I already think automatically you think like, oh, you like her?
Right.
You're looking at her in a way
Right.
that's inappropriate. Get the hell out of my
Yes.
face. Get the hell away.
Exactly.
And it could not be that. My daughter had like low self esteem, so any compliment for her would have been an opportunity for them to enter into her space. And I was like, no, she doesn't understand. I understand. So it's not happening. And I blocked a lot of relationships for her, which wasn't good for her.
Mm-hmm.
But when we going through our own shit, we don't see,
Right.
we don't understand until we start to come out of it.
Exactly. And it's not easy to come out of, especially with your babies, because you don't ever, the last thing you want from your babies is to go through what you went through yourself. It's an understandable survival mode, but we have, like I said, we have to learn how to balance that down. Like I said, my kids are grown. My daughter's 23. I'm like, I'm going to walk with you to the store. Now, I'll tell my husband, hey, go walk with her to the store, babe. Because finally, she forced me. And that's another thing. When it comes to parenting in survival mode, your kids will force you to let them grow up. My daughter, she got her tongue pierced. She started getting tattoos everywhere. She started dressing like in a way. And when she moved out, I about died. I'm like, oh my God. I have no control over what she wears. I have no control over who she talks to. I have no control over anything, but it hurt her. Because she's better now, but for, I'm going to say about 6 months of her life, when she turned 18, the first 6 months were horrible. She started drinking. She started smoking weed, some things that I'm like, oh my God, she looks like a 2-year-old to me, so she made me release some of that hold on her. When I finally said, okay, you win. I'll let you be you. I'll let you have your own experiences. She stopped. She calmed down. She had to go through her own little mess for her to understand that I may have been a little strict, but she understands why. And we have an understanding now. So I know when okay. Because she'll walk around in these little shorts, little shirt, beautiful little small little petite frame. I'm like, little girl, you're trying to make me go to jail today. But she's like, I am 23. She is 23. Yeah. She is 23 years old, Mom. You need to understand that you can't stop life from happening to me. That's what we have to understand as survivors. We can't stop life from happening to the people that we want to protect. There was somebody out there that probably wanted me to be safe, but they couldn't stop life from happening to me. And that's kind of how I learned how to balance some of my survival instincts. Whatever's going to happen to me, to you, to my husband, to whatever, it's going to happen. I can't prevent it because of how I've trained myself to keep myself safe, because my survival mode honestly didn't even really keep me that safe, because I still ended up in bad situations. Because I allowed it to blind me to a certain extent. So I have to survive, but I also have to keep my eyes open for all possibilities. And that's my hardest journey. I'm still walking.
Yeah, the biggest thing about survival mode that people don't understand, survival mode doesn't help you make the best decision. It helps you make the next best decision.
Exactly.
Like, so usually the decision that you make is still bad, but it's the best one out of all the scenarios that you have in place right now.
Yes. Right, exactly. So that's what it's like. One of the people that I interviewed on my podcast, it was like, it's not that you made a bad decision. You made the best decision you could at that time. And that is the perfect definition to me, in my opinion, of survival. Made you make the best, because you said it best. You make the best decision. You do what you have to, the next best decision. Because in the perfect world, your best decision would be able to go home and not get beat by your mom because she looks at you and sees the man that did all this stuff to her, and she's sitting on your face, punching you in your face. So the next best decision is to go out here and fight these homeless men who are trying to snatch you and drag you in the bathroom. And I'd rather stab them than my mom. So that's the next best decision. That's what survival mode is to me. It's doing the best that you can with what you have and surviving, living. You're not gonna take my light. And that's another thing. I feel like I have a light in me that the world was trying to destroy, and I was trying to survive so that they couldn't take. So that little piece of light, I'm gonna keep that light. I'm gonna survive to make sure that this light shines bright so that I can let everyone know that I did survive. I love that show, by the way. That's why I love this topic. I love that show. But I did survive. I survived the world trying to take something from me that they can't.
Then to talk about that, people make you try to feel guilty about surviving, especially the predators.
Oh, you're the victim. You're a victim. You're going to leave me here to struggle and suffer because, well, that's how my ex-husband did, because I worked, I cooked, I cleaned. He did not do anything besides beat and cheat. That's it. Beat and cheat and do his drugs. So you're going to leave me here to not have any food. You're 7 years older than me, dude. You were supposed to be taking care of me, but I feel guilty now because I'm trying to leave a relationship so that I can survive. His mother, his sisters, you did this to him. You made him spoiled. This is your fault. I have to be the one that's in the wrong for trying to leave an abusive situation. So yeah, they very much, even my mother. You married him. You got with him. You had kids by him. You're gonna take your kids from their father?
Yeah.
So that's what you're gonna do? You're gonna take your kids from your father? I can't see my children? No. No, and I felt horrible. I took my kids, I would leave the state. Like I left the first time I moved to Vegas. My mother told him where I lived, my mom, not his mine. Told him where I lived. So I went back to California. I went to Alaska to get away from him. My mother told him where I was. Yes.
My mother's like, oh my God.
Oh,
A lot of women, a lot of older women, I noticed that they were taught more to stick it out. And
yes.
it's their man, regardless. Like, we can fix this, we can solve this in some way, some form. We can fix this out, especially when you move into the commitment of marriage.
Yes.
And they don't understand the process of leaving because they never had the strength to do that themselves.
Right. Like with my mom's situation, I wrote a book and her whole story's in that book. So she knows my grandmother. Oh, I love my grandmother. She was a good grandmother to me before I even go any further. That woman raised us. I grew up on a farm. The happiest times of my life was when I was with my grandmother and my biological father before I even knew who he was. These things that happened to my mom, they did not happen to me by those people. But my grandmother basically gave my mom to my dad when she was like 9 years old. She moved in that man's house with him and his wife, who he was a very abusive man to her. She didn't have any say over the fact that he brought this baby in his house. So my mom was raised in the house with the man who was her abuser. To her, she was in a relationship. She did stick by his side because she's 20 years older than me. That lets you know. In her mind, I stood by my man's side to the end. I gave him babies like you gave another woman's husband babies, because to her, they were all in this big relationship. And it's really weird stories. But she believes I stood by your dad's side to the day he died. Literally, we were there right before he died, watching him go through kidney failure. She stood right there by that man's side. That she is a strong believer. No matter what, he's done worse to my mom than my ex-husband has ever done to me, because he took her as a baby, beat her, bloody, raped her, bloody, and took babies from her when she was 11 and 12. She doesn't even know if they're alive right now, because they told, yes, like I said, when I say I have a story, I got a story. Survivalist. It goes deep because I stayed with your dad through this. You didn't know any better. You had no one to tell you that what was happening to you was wrong. Stockholm. Oh, she suffers from Stockholm syndrome to this day. To this day, she still loves my father, even though he's passed away. I was 11 when he passed me. He's like 112 years old if he was alive, and she still loves my dad to this day. She drinks because she misses my dad, and it's like
the only life that she knew.
That is the only life she knew. So when it came to my situation, it's like, he broke your jaw. Your dad did way more to me. You need to go home. He hit you and he busted your lips. I would go to my mom's house, big black eyes, and like, girl, just shut up sometimes, So
because
she was able to survive it.
But she lost her
because she
has never.
She did.
Yet.
She's never had a life. No, never. It was behind that bottle.
So she's still having to remember who she is.
So no, she has not. She is definitely, her survival mode is that bottle, and that's what I never wanted to be. I never wanted to allow me trying to survive to take away from me as a mother, as a woman, as a wife. I never wanted to even get, that's another thing. I never even wanted to get married again. We went through a lot. My husband's back there. We went through a lot because of my survival mode. I don't trust you. I mean, like I said, I made our relationship a little bit rockier than it could have been because of my survival mode. And because I don't want to be my mom. I don't want to be her. I don't want to stay in love with this man who tried to break everything in me that he thought he could. But again, like you say, survival mode is not, I'm not going to say it's all bad, but it's definitely not good. We have to learn how to break ourselves from just focusing on surviving and learning how to live, because surviving is not living. Surviving is getting by. I want to live. I want to live happy. I want to live free from trauma. And the only way I can do that is to take some of those survival mode instincts out of there, even though that, like I said, I'm still chipping away. It's still there. It is. I'm 45 years old. I've been free from abuse since 2000, 2007, 2006. I left my husband officially. Well, no, I'm lying. He found me in Alaska. I'm going to say 2008 was when I finally said, you know what? I'm going to call the police on you. You are going to jail. And I was finally free at that point. Was divorced in 2010. So since 2008, I've been free from physical trauma. But that survival mode cost me a lot more abuse. My survival mode cost me my son. I trapped that baby so much in that house, he decided to go out. And when he was out, he wanted to be defensive. He wanted to serve because he felt like he couldn't protect me. So he was a very defensive person. He defended everybody he loved. And in doing so, he was protecting someone that he thought was a friend to him. And he got shot. He got killed because of, and I don't blame myself. I did at first. I did for a long time. I blamed myself for my son dying, but I do feel like I had part in not allowing him to learn life. If I wouldn't have been so much hung up on trying to survive and keep him safe, he would not have been so curious to find life. Now, the decision for his life to be taken was that of the person who pulled that trigger, not mine. But I could have taught him better if I knew better. Mm-hmm. And all I knew how to do was survive.
And that's the sad thing of that the kids usually do the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. We know that happens because they feel like they're missing out on something or they're losing out on that is really not that great before they experience that. And us talking about it or just trying to use our life as an example is just not good enough.
No, it's not. And if you smother them too much, they're going to find a way out. Mm-hmm. And that's what I had to learn about. That's what made me realize I need to stop surviving and start living. Because with me surviving, I was smothering my kids. They couldn't breathe. And they wanted to breathe. I'm still struggling with my daughter because I know what monsters are out there. I have been a 14-year-old girl in the streets, homeless. I know. And my daughter says she's 23, but promise she still look 14. She really does. She's really small. So I have to still learn. It's an everyday journey. It never ends. I am getting better with it. That's why I moved to Costa Rica. I said, you know what? Let me go somewhere else. 5 months ago, me and my husband, my daughter, my son, and my granddaughter, we all came to Costa Rica. And I tried to leave them there. I'm like, you guys stay in the United States. You guys have to learn. But because they don't know how to survive, they follow me everywhere I go because I was their survival. I am their way of surviving. I didn't teach them how to live in a world without me in it.
Yeah.
Surviving affects, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I said that's another important part that we should talk about when it comes to parenting in survival mode. When you taught your kids not how to survive without you, how exhausting that is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I'm going through that right now, and I noticed that like every decision, every moment, they look at me to decide for them.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, yes. Oh my God, did I fail? Because these are simple things that you should be able to decide out, but they don't have that confidence because I didn't give that enough confidence to go out there and explore that themselves.
That is exactly what I mean. My daughter's 23. She is my youngest child. I've told my son, he has a daughter, 25. I'm helping him raise his daughter because the mom, she exit stage left. She's gone, but he doesn't know how to take care of his own child. They don't know how to run their own household without coming to me, asking me how to help them. Just yesterday, it's funny that you said that. Just yesterday, because they're roommates. They live right next door to me. They're roommates. They come over here. Mom, she won't sweep, wipe the tables because I'm just standing there like, why am I still making decisions for you guys in your own home? This is not my lane. I clean my house. My husband cleans my house. We do our thing over here. Do you not know how to clean the house? Well, come to find out, I've always swept and mopped and wiped the counters off for my daughter every time. She didn't do something, here I am to do it for her. So she maybe doesn't understand that's a part of cleaning the kitchen. To her, that's the dishes. That's an example of what you said. They still come to you with decisions because our survival mode, it trickles down into our families after we are free from the physical trauma. My daughter doesn't realize that when it's your day in the kitchen, you have to mop the floor, you have to sweep the counter, sweep the floor, wipe the counters and stove, because I've done that for her whole life. She doesn't cook. To this day, every night I cook dinner. because I didn't know she couldn't cook because I worked 3 jobs. I'm surviving. I get off work, I cook. I get off work, I clean. I taught my boys how to cook, but I didn't teach my daughter. Like, these are things that I have to learn, that I have to, and I'm teaching them now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to raise you all over again. We're going to do it right this time, though. So all we can do is go back and try to fix that. But with surviving, it can affect. It's like the ripple effect. You're not surviving anymore. Now you're surviving for everyone else, and they can't survive without you. I've done that with many families. I've let families come in, and I would raise their kids. I have a friend right now. I call her my sister. I think maybe 12 years ago, I said, "You got to raise your own kids now," and I left. She does not know how to raise her kids. Now her kids are wanting to come and live with me because I'm mom. My mom doesn't know how to be a mom because you were my mom. You know, and I think 2 or 3 families I have done that with. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put you guys all in the same box because I had to survive this. I don't want you to have to.
I did the same thing. Like my youngest daughter, my little children, their father got into a situation and he had another baby, and that mother was not able to take care of him. And I'm like, give me him.
Right.
And I came in,
Give him.
stepped in, and took care of him to the point where he thought I was mommy. They didn't like that. And then just like any situation, my kids' friends, I'll see them in a predicament. I'm like,
right.
And I'll take on kids and I'll take on families to the point that I become like their parent. And then they look to me and I carry that burden when they're no longer with me. Because when bad things happen, I feel like I carry them because I took on the responsibility, and then they went back in the world and I come back and saved them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But after a certain time, like, I have to realize I'm not a parent. And if their parent comes in place and want their kids back, there's nothing I can do about it. And that shit really sucks. And
it does.
Learn how I am trying to heal myself through these relationships, trying to help other people. And that's not
right. Yeah. And then after your heart is always in the right place. But then when you do this and then you go out and you see what happens when they are without you, you feel like, oh my God, I messed up these babies. I should have kept them. I should have fought harder. So like I said, a survival mode is more than just living a certain way for yourself. It affects your entire life. It affects everybody you love because you don't want anybody to have to survive. But then you leave them defenseless. You leave them defenseless. And then you blame yourself. You blame yourself. Oh my God, this is my fault you're going through this. This is my fault you're dealing with this. It's not your fault. You did the best you could, and your heart is always in the right place. You want to love, you want to help, you want to protect. Because survival mode you put you in a mama bear mode. You want to protect everybody, and it can come out hurting them in the end.
Yeah, and that's so funny that you said that, because when the person, your provider, becomes stuck in survival mode, you never have to activate. Your kids never have to activate.
No.
So
no, they don't.
When danger comes in play, it looks like a green light instead of a red light.
Right. Yes, that is a beautiful analogy, because they like, we can go because no matter what happens, I can go. Mom's going to get me out of it. Just go. They don't have any type of survival instincts at all, at all. And I didn't even see that until I started to see my kids as teenagers and adults. I'm like, don't you realize that this is wrong? No, I didn't understand, because I didn't learn that.
They just walking around like,
right.
My 20-year-old, she does that. I feel like she lives in LA. I said, hold on. I got these like keychains that I make, and I'm like, you're walking somewhere, go get your keychain. I don't need. I said it's 8:00 at night. I don't care. You're going to the store. Go get the keychain.
Right.
And she looking at me like, I'm just going to the store.
Oh my God. That is my daughter. That is my daughter. We live in Costa Rica. We do not even speak this language. She will walk to the store at 8:00 at night and in the dark. There is literally a jungle across the street from where we live. We don't know any of these people, and you just want to walk to the store, huh?
Just walk.
No.
Like, it's a good thing that they don't hear the world, but at the same time, we have to be cautious.
Right.
basics parts. It's not like everything. I think that everybody is a danger, but just to have some type of instinct, like, oh, somebody's following me, not just somebody's walking
Right.
behind me.
Right.
Understand
And
the
they don't
difference.
have that at all.
Yeah.
Right. And see, with us, we're the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's following us when it's somebody that just might be walking behind us. That's where our survival mode kick in.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking like, and they're like, no, I'm just getting ready to turn into this house right here. Okay, because I'm watching you.
Now watch.
Where our kids are like, la, 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 and someone's really trying to stab them or snatch them, you know? So, yes, it's just the complete opposite. I do agree that this is something that has to, like I said, this has to be a balance. Like, you have to survive, yes. But when it's too much of anything, is bad for you. Too much survival mode is bad for you, and it's bad for the people around you because you don't. It's not easy to turn off.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Okay, you know what? I feel safe now." You will never feel safe. We will, as trauma survivors, we will never feel safe until we start to heal.
Mm-hmm. And that is like a perfect cue to go into our game. Yeah.
Yay!
So today we're gonna play a game called Thank God I'm Healing. In this game, I'm going to like pretty much tell you a scenario, and then you would
Okay.
tell me how you would react if you was in survival mode, and then how you would act now that you started your process of healing.
Okay.
So the first scenario is you're talking to your partner or close friend, but they distracted and not really listening to what you're saying. How would you react?
In survival mode, I would get frustrated and be like, "Can you hear me? Are you ignoring me? Hello, I'm talking to you. And then you're not paying attention to me. You know what? I don't have time for this." And boom, we're in an argument.
Mm-hmm.
In this journey, it'll most likely be the same as like, "Hey, did you hear me? Hey, oh, I'm sorry. Are you on something else? Do you want to talk about this later?" It's more being concerned than angry.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ignoring me. Maybe you just didn't hear me. Maybe I'm talking too fast, or maybe I'm not talking loud enough. Let me try to find out why you didn't respond to what I was saying to you. Survival mode is just going to automatically accuse and point my finger. And the way I do things now is I try to find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think first. Survival mode, I don't think, I act. My healing journey, I think first. Okay, stop. Let's not make this worse than it has to be, and let's just find out what's going on.
Yeah. Me personally, go to hell. I would have walked away. I'm like, okay, deuce. Like you say, you're right. Like, deuce. Bye-bye. And then they'll try to talk to me, and I'm kind of like, Daddy, so I would have let them start talking, and then I would have walked away.
You're like, you had your chance. You're going to ignore me?
No,
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm not going to argue with you, so that's the thing. As long as we're not arguing, boo-boo, I got to go.
And I think that's because, and even though I'm in survival mode, I have like abandonment issues. So I'm not going to give you an opportunity to make me feel like I'm alone in this conversation or anything. So I'm like, no, I'm good. I'd rather not have these feelings come up. So I'm not going to have a conversation with you. If you're not giving me my full attention, I'm done with it.
Right.
Now, before I even start in the conversation, I pretty much ask everybody, do you have time to talk to me right now? Or you have the space for this conversation, yes or no? Before I even go into it. And then if I'm going into this conversation and you're not giving my full attention, I know that your attention is not on me. So this is a conversation I don't need to have with you.
Right.
Because I started the conversation, right? I asked you for the space. And if you're still ignoring me, that means that your attention is not right and you're not a person that needs to have a conversation with me. Noted.
And I don't need that energy right now anyway, so let me just go ahead and remove it. You have a nice day. I release you with love.
Exactly. Noted. And not take it personal.
Not at all.
Now let's move on to the second one. Your partner or your friend asks you to handle multiple tasks or situations at once, and there's no one else to rely on to help out.
Before, I would try to do everything at the same time and overwhelm myself. Okay, I got you. I'm going to save you. I got you. This means I can do this and I can do that, but I can't do everything you're asking. I can help to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to burn myself out. I had to learn how to not be your savior. So just give it all. Just give it all. Now, And if I can't do anything, I'm sorry. I can't. I have to be okay with saying no.
My old me, like that's my survivor response is flee. So you'll come in there and my ass will be gone again. Like you got me fucked up.
Right?
I'm not doing it.
I am not your slave.
I'm not your slave. I probably would have did one or two things, and then I would have left the rest of it, and I would have been gone. And they would have been looking around, where the hell she at home? I wouldn't gave them no explanation or nothing. I would have been like, you stupid. It's common sense. Why the hell I left?
Right.
So I will leave it up to them. I'll leave it up in the air. I have created so many enemies and stuff like that because they just thought I was a bitch. Or I was just being mean and being rude. But it's common sense. But sometimes common sense is not common sense because I can say yes to it, not understanding all that I had to do. And then when I realized, like, you knew what you was doing. So no, figure this out yourself.
Right.
But now I will have that conversation like, okay, I don't like to go in no situation without clarity anymore. I'm a person that needs clarity, understanding, and what's going on. And it is not presented in a way that I can understand what's going on and everything that's in place. I will not move forward in it.
Right.
So
that is good. That is actually really good. I need to know what you're asking me to do. I didn't even think about that one. Hold on. What do you want me to do and why? Yeah. Who is this going to affect? Is this illegal? I'm not going to jail for you.
Exactly. I have to have to. And it aggravates people. Like, why? Because I am. I'm a very detailed person now at this point.
Can you write a list down? Let me know exactly what it is. Present this to me in PDF format. I got you.
Exactly. That's what I am. Now let's go to the third question. A friend or a partner asks you to do something you're not comfortable with, but you agree anyway to avoid disappointing them.
I would just, the old me again, I was a people pleaser. I was a yes person. That's like I said, my daughter didn't want to clean the kitchen, I would clean it. So I would just do it. And then I would deal with the consequences after. And then I would blame myself when something bad happens. Now, no. Just no. It's just no. And if you get angry with me, I'm not even sorry about it. At first I said, I'm so sorry you're mad at me. Now it's just like, I maybe embody some of your energy. Like, no, I'm not going, like I just said, I'm not going to jail for you. I don't feel comfortable doing this. And if you don't respect my boundaries, then maybe you're not somebody that needs to be in my space, because I don't want anyone to try to force me to do anything that I don't want to do.
I'm the same way. I would have been the people pleaser in this situation because, like you said, my protection mode would have came on. So it's like, this person needs me to be there in case something happened or something, like I need to protect them. So I would have probably gone forward with it out of the sense of protection. And then now, like you said, is it going to put me in danger? Because I ain't got that to do. I'm good on that. I can't say that right now because I'm still in that protection mode. When it comes to certain people, it doesn't matter what situation it is.
Yeah. Like your kids. Like, your kids.
I'm going to leave regardless. Like, I'm about to go to jail today, but it's going to be worth it.
There's my bail money, y'all. There go my bail money. Get it. And that I feel the same way. But even if it's not something that I had to learn how to be comfortable not doing anything that I don't want to do. Even if I could be laying in the bed asleep and you go, well, you're not doing anything. Yes, I am. I'm resting. I don't want to do it right now. I had to learn how to say no. That was the biggest problem I had. I told nobody no, but I've had houses destroyed, letting 15 people live in my house. I had to learn. I don't want to. It's no. I'm sorry that you feel the need to be mad at me because I'm not taking on your responsibility. That's not my responsibility. It's yours. It's your project. It's your situation, especially if you're grown. Oh, definitely no.
And removing the guilt from that. Because you used to feel so guilty, like, oh, like I used to play, when I first started to say no to things, I used to play scenarios in my head, like, if I don't do this and this can happen to them, oh my God. And try to convince myself to say yes because I'm so scared of the outcome. And then I had to separate myself from the outcome because if I wasn't here and I wasn't breathing or I wasn't alive, you still have to figure this out without me.
Oh my goodness. You know how many times that was been told to me? That's one of the reasons why I'm okay with saying no now. What would they do if you weren't here? You're not gonna live forever. Everybody got a checkout date. What you gonna do? What they gonna do? They have to
They have
live
to
without you.
figure it out.
I love that analogy. I've always loved it.
Yeah.
I hated it at first. I'm not gonna lie. I just told a lie. I used to hate hearing that. I'm like, oh, get the hell out of my
Yeah,
face. But now it makes so much
it does
sense.
because I used to be like, well, I'm not dead, so I can save them. But no, you're disabling them, and that's again,
Right.
what's that scenario? Not the that saying. You teach somebody to fish, they can eat. No,
Mm-hmm.
you get somebody to fish, they can eat for one day. You teach them how to
One day.
fish, they can eat for a
They'll eat the rest of their
lifetime.
life.
Yeah, so
And they might be mad at you when you're teaching them, but you still gotta
you gotta
learn.
learn. Yeah, so sometimes setting boundaries is teaching them.
Yes, I agree 100%. And it looks harsh in the beginning, but they gonna come. My oldest son, before he passed away, one of the first things he said was, "Mom, you should have whipped us more. You should have disciplined us more. You should have told us no. You spoiled us." My kids to this day will say, "You spoiled us. We're like this because you spoiled
Mm-hmm.
us." I'm like, "You little okay. So go cook your own food now."
They agree. They understand that they not able to do certain things because they was unable to do it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we wanted to give them things that we didn't have.
Exactly.
But we didn't know
Yeah.
those things would disable them because we craved it so much.
Right.
And it was like,
And it was like making us happy to see them happy because of the things we were doing
yeah,
for them.
we was living out our inner child to our children. Like, yes, I get
Yeah,
the power.
that's something that if I have any guilt left, that would be one of my guilts is that I used the love that I felt like I wanted and pushed so much of it on my kids that I made them unable to survive
Yeah.
on their own without me. And I'm gonna get through that too. Like I said, everything is a journey, but that's one of the biggest regrets I have right now is not allowing my children to learn on their own.
Yeah.
To always jump in front of the bullet and say, "Hey, I'm right here."
Mm-hmm. I'm still, yeah, that's the biggest thing that I'm still like, just standing back and just watching it unfold like a movie. But you already know what's about to happen. Like, I already know the ending to this, but I can't tell
Mhm.
you.
Right. Yes, that's my biggest, and I'm getting better. I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting better. Again, that survival mode is coming down because I don't feel like you need to get rid of it completely. You
No,
need
you
some
have
type of
to.
survival instinct in you. But when you, like I said before, when you have too much of it, it's too
Mm-hmm.
much. It's not good. You have to put it back where it needs to be. Every emotion, every feeling you have, it's there for a reason, but you need to use it for that reason and that reason alone.
Yeah.
So
Now, the next question is you want to talk to us? No, that's not one. You've been given a lot of praise by a family member or partner, but instead of feeling appreciated, question whether they're really, you question whether you deserve it.
you should get a lot of gifts from a family member.
You've been given a lot of praise by a family member or
Oh,
partner,
praise.
but instead of feeling appreciated, instead of you feeling appreciated, you question whether you really deserve it or not.
I'm going to use my partner because I still question my family. Before, I would think he did something. What did you do? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? I would always question the motive of why are you giving me this praise? It took years. And when I say years, I mean this year. I've been with him for 10 years. And so this year is when I finally started to accept that he saw these things in me. I'm like, why are you saying this? Because you are. He'll tell me like you're a strong, powerful woman. You are. You can. His thing is you can do anything you set your mind to. And I'm like, why did you say that to me? Because you graduated college, even though you were going through so much. You went back to school. You did this. Look at everything. And so I actually asked him, now, why do you say those things? I need to understand because that's a self-worth situation. Because of the trauma that I went through, I don't have a lot of self-worth. Like I said, that's why I said if it was my family, they're the ones that caused all this trauma. You guys are crazy. I don't believe anything you say. But with my husband, I always thought it was a motive behind it because when my aunt would tell me something like, "You're so pretty. Can you come over here and watch my kids?"
Oh,
Oh, you did so good in school. You want to come over here and clean my house? And her house looked like a hoarder's episode, you know? So at first I felt like everything, or men are not all bad,
mm-hmm.
but some of them. And then I had to look at it. It wasn't the men that I was around. I mean, it wasn't the men of the world. It was the men I was around. I'm in the streets. I'm in the bad part of the area. So those men, Oh, you so beautiful. You know what they was looking for. I'm a little girl. Why are you looking at me telling me I'm this beautiful top model woman and you 30 years old? I had trust issues with that. So I had to learn how to reset that and understand that my husband was giving me those compliments because of what he saw me doing. That is still now teaching me to accept. You're so beautiful. Why are you calling me beautiful? Do you think that I'm going to marry somebody that looked like a hideous, horrible thing to me? I'm not going to be with somebody I am not attracted to. You're beautiful because I think you're beautiful. So I'm learning now. That's still a learning thing. I'm still learning to accept praise because even now it's still hard because I did do all of that, didn't I? Okay, well then you're probably telling the truth.
Yeah. With me, I used to, every time somebody used to give me praise, I used to collect evidence to disapprove them, disapprove everything. Like, oh, you did such a great job today. Then I would point out all the 10 things that I did wrong. I'm like, it's not a good,
Mm-hmm.
what are you talking about? Stop trying to gaslight me. Like, get the hell out of my face.
Right.
I used to be like, I used to think everybody was trying to manipulate me. I'm like,
Yeah.
shoot. I ain't got nothing for
Mm-hmm.
you today. Get away from me.
Mm-hmm. But you
You
won't.
won't. Exactly. Now I sit with it. I still, like you said, I still try to do the same thing, try to disprove it, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I prove it too. So like,
Right.
oh, you did a good job today. I'm like, yeah, I actually accomplished 4 or 5 things off my list,
Right.
so I pretty much did it.
Right.
But those bad things, the things that I didn't accomplish, still come up. But I try to
Yeah.
override it with the things that I did do. So it's still
Yeah.
a battle between the two. But I try to give the more positive side more light.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's hard too. That's really hard. We'll get it.
This is the last question.
Okay.
No, this is okay. You need support from your partner or friend, but instead of asking for help, you decide to take care of everything yourself.
I kind of think I still
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that though. I'm just not gonna lie to you today, Miss Rose. I still do that. I'm like, because I have no patience,
Amen.
none. So before I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it myself. And if it's not done the way I want it to be done, I might have a problem with. It's like I am working on it. Like what I do. Like now, I'm teaching my kids and my husband to cook. At first, me teaching them to cook was you watch me. Now let me watch you a little bit and sit here and you'll see me, my leg will get to twitching and put a little bit more in there. I can't even say I don't still do that because I still do
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm working on
Mm-hmm.
it. It's really hard though. Yeah.
Me too. Before I wouldn't even ask for help. I just got up and did it.
Yes.
I just did it.
Yes.
I wouldn't even question it because I just knew help was never on its way. In my mind,
Right.
help was never coming.
Mm-hmm.
It was always left up to me to figure it out.
Right.
Now I see what they're capable of. So I will only ask for help in areas that I see they already succeed in, if that makes sense.
Right. Little baby
Yeah,
tasks.
things that they have already succeeded in. And then the big issue that I have, if I was to go out of my comfort zone and ask for help for something I haven't seen them succeed in, and they don't do it or they ignore that request, it kind of push me back into that space where
Yep.
I can't help is not coming.
And that's why I do it myself
Yeah.
anyway. This is why I do it. I try to justify why I do
Mm-hmm.
it. That's why I don't ask you to do anything.
Yeah. But then I see this thing, this clip on TikTok or something like that. The lady that she does with her kids, they was like, she asked her kids to do something
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do it. The neighbor kid was like, "Oh my God, you better go do what your mama said, or you're gonna get in trouble." And she was like, "Oh, he's not gonna get in trouble." He's like, "Why? He's not doing what she says." Instead of me punishing him for not doing what he's doing, I just go get him and have him do what I asked. She bring him to the task. I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
learn to do that. If I ask for help, and the kids is like, "Okay, we're gonna do this, mom," and they don't do it, I just try to get them and bring them like, "Okay, we made this agreement. between me and you. We're going to honor
Mm-hmm.
agreement. So come on, let's go do this together. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to show
Yeah.
them how to show up.
Well, you just taught me something. Because that's that. I'm gonna try to use that because I still struggle with that really bad.
Just trying to just talk to them and understand, show them your point of view. Like, mommy's struggling with this, asking for
Yeah.
help. So if I ask for help, this takes a lot out of me, like
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, physically, and all that, because
Mm-hmm.
your heart is racing. It's like you're in survival. Your heart is beating like this, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Even
Yes.
though you're not running from a tiger, you feel like you are. You feel like you're about to get attacked.
Right.
That rejection or them not showing up, it feels like you're getting chased or you're about to get tossed on by a freaking tire. So for us to step outside of that comfort and ask for help instead of just doing it the
Mm-hmm.
easy way, which is doing ourselves, which is not the easy way.
No.
But to us it is, because you don't have to
It
step out of
really is.
anything. Then we have to try to get them to understand that. Maybe it'll get them to show up in a different space.
And honestly, it could also open the door to let them see you're not a robot. I'm a human being. I have pain. I need help, because I feel like a lot of the times my kids don't do it because they look at me like I'm this giant. I'm larger than life and I can do anything. And they need to see I'm a knee bad. I'm 45. I got bad knees. I need help. So that is, I'm going to try to do that. Really am.
I used to didn't let my kids see me cry. But now, if I'm feeling it at the moment, I would just let the tears flow before I just like, oh, they're gonna take advantage of these damn tears. Yeah, I used to think
Yeah.
my tears was not like,
We were raised, it was weakness.
Mhm.
You were raised, that's weakness. You don't ever let anybody see you cry. Why?
Exactly. Well, as we come to the end of this episode, is there anything that you would like to share or give an advice to the listeners before we end?
I do have advice. Allow yourself to be imperfect. I know that in survival mode, that teaches us that we have to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect. We're allowed to make mistakes. Be your authentic self. Allow that person that you're trying to protect inside of you, because that's what survival mode is, protecting that person inside of you that's being abused. Allow that person room to grow, and let yourself be human. Let yourself make mistakes. Let yourself allow the people in your lives to grow, because when you're smothering yourself, you're smothering them too.
That is true. And can you please tell the listeners where they can find you, your social media, your podcast, all that good stuff?
Yes. You can find my podcast on Spotify. It's Insights of a Survivor. You can follow me on Instagram as Soulful Resilience Journey. That's my coaching business, Social Resilience Journey. On Facebook, it's just PJ Jones, and you can follow me there. I do not know my LinkedIn. I forgot. I don't go on
It'll
LinkedIn
be
a lot
under in
anyway,
this
so don't.
if you send it to me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I did. I send it all. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram. TikTok is, I believe it's Social Resilience Journey, but I have two. The one that I want people to start, because I don't have enough on that one, is Social Resilience Journey. And yeah, Insights of a Survivor, that's my podcast. And Empowering Your Voices is my YouTube channel. So it's not my actual voice on that, but that was my very first jump into this. I do everything with AI voice, but I'm going to start transferring over into being proud of me, like what we're doing right now, because I've always been ashamed of my face, my voice, my eyes, everything. So I'm learning and I'm growing.
This is part of my healing journey. This is why I did it. Because trying to tell myself that I deserve to be seen, my voice deserves to be heard,
Yes.
that my story matters.
Yes. Yes, we are a lot alike.
Yeah, we are. I noticed that through this conversation. And can you tell us a little bit more about your coaching?
My life, I just started. I have open slots. Anyone needs any coaching, but it is trauma for trauma survivors. It's to help us empower ourselves to learn how to live with the trauma that was inflicted on us, because a lot of times we don't have a support system. When you left trauma, when you left your spouse or your mom or whatever, you left with no knowledge of how you're supposed to focus. What am I supposed to do tomorrow? I made a lot of mistakes. I partied. I got drunk. I was doing all kind of stuff, laying up whoever I wanted to, because I did not have a support system to teach me how to heal first. I thought I was free from trauma, and I wasn't. So my program is about teaching us not how to traumatize ourselves after we heal and allowing us to heal from trauma. I have a lot of worksheets that we go through. I'm NLP certified too, that kind of help you try to change the way you think about yourself, change the way, learn how to take control of your own emotions, your own feelings, your own not seeking outwardly validation for anything. So that's what my coaching is about. I'm a holistic. I believe that the mind, the body, spirit is connected. If you cannot heal your mind and your spirit, you're still going to feel that stress is going to affect your body. You're still going to have all those negative thoughts. You're going to have those doubts. You're going to. It's more about empowering yourself to be a better you.
Amen.
That's what my coaching is about, and I want us all to learn that we are going to mess up. And you cuss, I'm glad I heard you cuss. We're gonna fuck up. We're gonna fuck up. You're gonna fuck up. Even after your healing journey, I still fuck up. I'm not perfect. People look at me like I am. I'm not. And that's one of the things we have to do. And that's what I incorporate in my coaching. Accountability. Why are you in that situation? Because you fucked up. What are you going to do to change it?
Exactly.
You fucked up. We're there. Let's past it. So it's more of just, like I said, learning how to love you and accept you for who you are so that you can grow and heal mind, body, and spirit.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I really enjoyed the conversation. I really hope that this story helps someone in our conversation, help someone navigate their survival mode and understand exactly what they're going through if they don't understand that they're in survival mode. Because a lot of people don't even understand that.
Thank you so much for having me, too. I appreciate you hearing my story. I know it was a lot.
Before we wrap up, I just want to let you know about what's coming up next. In our next episode, we're going to be talking about how to build a strong foundation to keep yourself out of survival mode so that you can actually start to heal. I don't know if you know, when you're stuck in survival mode, it's almost impossible to heal. You get caught in this endless cycle of pain, frustration, and confusion. It makes you want to quit and give up. But in the next episode, we're going to explore how to stabilize yourself, break out of that cycle, and start moving toward actual starting the healing process. So don't miss it. I can't wait to see you next week. Signing off, your sister Love, Rose. Bye.